talk to you about. We spoke about this before. About this. Saw a blog about pornography.
Yeah.
And what really, I mean, obviously we know it's wrong. I've seen many things. I've read a few things on it. But really what kind of struck me about this is that here's a guy who is not Christian. Well, I don't know if he's Christian or not, but he wasn't coming at it in a Christian. And he actually specifically said about pornography, he said, I'm not coming at this from a moral perspective, and I'm not coming at this from a sin perspective. He said, this is science. And how science now is saying that this pornography thing is bad for us. And what's your take on that?
Well, I think young people nowadays have a greater challenge than I'd say any other generation. And I would say, we would say when we were teens, we had our struggles, you know what I mean? We had our issues and, but back in it, and as bad as it was, with pornography being in a magazine, now you can have it at where you had to go to the shop and get it in a brown paper bag and whatnot. You know what I mean? You have to risk the embarrassment of the public.
Yeah, sorry to cut you. Think about, like I said, I was talking to some guys the other day, somebody, I can't remember, but we were talking about it. And I said, in my day, when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, if you wanted, very rarely did I ever see any pornography. Very rarely. Somebody's nicked it from their dad.
That's right.
And brought it to
very
school.
True. Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
he'd come here in the corner and he'd pull it out. And we'd all gather around and look at it, and people would, and then he would wrap it back up and put it in his bag, and he'd have to take it back. And so I literally saw it for about 10 minutes with about 20 other guys around me.
Yeah, same here. So
no,
as a kid,
there's nothing I could do. Nothing you could do in that environment. And so and the pages are flipping quickly. And remember, that's not moving images. That's just photos. Which are, this little square photos that you're seeing. And then that was it. And if you wanted to see pornography as a young man, you couldn't get hold of it. Where would you get hold of pornography if you weren't a grown man? You'd have to get an adult to buy it for you. And even if you was an adult, you had to go out of your house, find a shop that sold it, walk into the shop and have money, and have money, go through the shame of saying, so you'd have to wait till no one's in the shop. You'd have to pretend you're buying a Kit Kat and a Mars bar. And then when no one's in the shop, quickly go up to the guy and say, I want that. Then he would have to look at you and be like, you're a pervert. So right there, the guy knows you're a pervert now. And then you have to have this type of thing in you that could go brazenly against, not care what this man. You want it so bad, you won't even care what this man says about you. Quickly get it, put it in and then go off. And today, someone just types with their finger. They can wake out of their sleep, types in their finger, and it's there. It's a total different struggle.
Oh, absolutely. There's no struggle now. You know what I'm saying? And I think, there's so many things affecting young people, and that's just one of them. And the easy access to porn, which, we discussed the idea of dopamine hits and diminishing returns over time. You keep going into it more and more and more. That's why you have people going to more hardcore stuff, trying to get that dopamine hit. And people become bound and increasingly now women are getting into pornography, where it used to be, and I'm talking about visual, women's porn is always considered these old romance novels, you know what I mean, books. Guys were more into the visual stuff, but we're seeing more women involved in that. But we're seeing with the easy access, young people's minds are being eroded. And I'm not talking just the idea from a moral perspective, but from what a guy mentioned as well, just how has the ability just to rewire your mind, and that's one of the problems is the easy access he talks to. You don't have to go through the whole age-old ritual of wooing a woman, and you know what I mean, and all that kind of stuff. You don't need to do all that kind of stuff to get the dopamine hit. You just have it a click on your phone, and it's there. And so, you know, it impacts people in terms of their relationships with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
You know, because then, you know, and you wonder why some guys, man, they can live out through their 20s and they don't have no real desire to, you know, to be involved with the opposite. You kind of like, man, I remember as a teenager, man, you just want to be with a girl, you know what I'm saying, you know? Yeah. And when you got saved, man, you know, hey, you know you can't fornicate, man, you got to get married. And you see these guys, man, they're in the 20s, 30s, and you're like, bro, I don't know what's going on with you, man, but everybody I know from back in the day, man, had testosterone, man, and man, you know, you got to channel that in the right direction.
I heard that testosterone levels are dropping across the board, man. Have you heard this?
Yeah, actually I do. Yeah. I've looked into that.
Yeah, man. Okay, we'll talk about that another time. We'll save that for another time.
But so you have that, but I would think, you know, so women are objectified as well. I remember guys bound by porno 20 years ago marrying good-looking girls. Remember, we knew guys like this, married good-looking girls, and these women wouldn't satisfy them, you know what I mean? They still ran to the porn shop. Them blacked out, you know, them shops, I don't know if they're still around, but you know, so you have that. You have other things. We talked about Instagram, and you really think about these things that are compounding young minds. Pornography, Instagram. Let's forget about pornography on soft porn on Instagram. Just checking for likes and always having to be updated. You know, that's impacting people's minds as well. You think about all of these things that they're pushing now with the alphabet people pushing these agendas on young minds. These schools now are facilitating these kind of things. I'm telling you, man, in 20 years, I remember 20 years ago being in the back of church with Pastor Carnegie, and we had a situation, and he said to me, Jay, in 20 years, and this was 2000 and late 2002, early 2003, said, Jay, 20 years from now, man, you're going to see things you've never seen before. You think this is nuts? You're going to see, wait 20 years from now. And he was right. You know, Pastor Carnegie, man, he was like a prophet, man, with a lot of stuff. He was right. But imagine another 20 years, should Jesus tarry, of what we're seeing now being pushed through on children's minds. It's going to be a different world. And so parents now have trouble like they've never had it. And I think, I'll be honest, I think a lot of parents are blasé about the dangers their children are going to go through from a young age.
Yeah, just let me insert on that. Is that what I was thinking about this is culture was in line with a lot of what were moral codes of the Bible. Yes. Certain moral things, culture would do it. So you could kind of you could co-parent with culture.
That's right.
You
Very
could
true.
co-parent.
Very
so
true.
if you was a bad parent or a neglected parent, culture would. People would pull you up.
Yes.
If you was a man and you wasn't being manly, culture would be like, hey, be a man up. Culture would advise a woman, you know, how to do certain things. There were certain things that would be shameful.
Yes.
But now culture has totally flipped where it's almost the things that culture says is shameful are the moral codes that God has woven into a humanity. And the things that the Bible says is shameful, now that culture is promoting. So you can no longer be that type of parent that co-parents with culture.
With society,
You have to say, no. We're going to have to be far more diligent than our parents were. We're going to have to be far more on it. This is part of our calling, our life, our job. And because what are you reading, what are you looking at, and just because you just can't, like, you know, you used to be able to let your kids go out and you know, people say that, didn't they? You know, used to be able to go out and play outside and hang out with people. Because there were certain things that culture would not do. They were wrong.
Well, you know, the thing I see as well is back in the day I was against homeschooling 100%. Now, man, I fear people who don't have their kids homeschooled.
Wow.
Just because of what's being pushed, you know. and the people who are allowed to push stuff, and the government just acquiesces to that. That's where we're seeing right now. So we have that factor. We have the fact that I was on a bus the other day going to Eltham, and I'm seeing that. I'm having my eyes on this now. There's a woman. Her kid is in a pram. Kid's not more than, I don't think the kid's 2 years old, but the kid's grabbed the phone, like one of these iPhone, watching some YouTube video at under 2, you know what I mean? And it's like these parents just keep throwing the phones at the kids, throwing them right at the early ages of being socialized with a phone. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, man, that's a bit too young. I understand, you know, parents want less noise. You know, nowadays we have less patience for kids as well, man, you know? Just chuck him the phone, chuck him the entertainment, put him in front of the TV, you know what I'm saying? And I'm seeing more of this. I remember going to visit a family once, and I think the wife was upstairs, the husband was going to get me a coffee, and there's a kid in front of the TV, man, and these commercials came out. You have no idea what your kids are watching, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking more and more people are not diligent in terms, because, you know, the back in the day, people had more time for their families. Nowadays, people are so busy, you know, trying to stay financially afloat. And that's the other thing we're seeing is you know, the middle class is being eroded, man. Really, you know, you can't afford to live in London anymore.
So yeah, let's just go back to this the pornography thing. So I just want to touch upon some of the things you said. So because they guys are looking at this, women as well, but we'll talk about guys. Guys are looking at this pornography. What's happening is that they're basically getting this stimulation. And so they're looking at pornography and they're getting this stimulation, and so what's happening is they're getting sex without any type of sacrifice. That's what really came to my mind here. And so one of the things is that you're used to getting this pleasure without even pursuing a woman, without even having the drive to go and speak to a woman, get to know a woman, enter into a relationship with a woman, and kind of like become a more rounded man. And so without that, you're used to getting this stimulation without that process. And so now you no longer really have the unction to actually pursue a woman, and you become shyer and more introvert, and almost like if a woman was to say no to you, it's like the end of the world now. So even before you move forward, even before you're willing to kind of like, oh, let me get to know this woman, but what if she says no? What if she doesn't like me? And so I'm not even going to do it. I'll just stay here. And so it's kind of, it's stealing your manhood. Where you think it's a manly thing to look at pornography. This thing is actually stealing your manhood. That you're no longer.
Well, there's so many ways in this which pornography plays out. I think with that, the more you get involved, the more you just see women as, you not just objectify women, but women are there to, you know, they're dirty. They're the sexual, they're just, you know, the way you treat them is like, they're disposable in relationships. They're sluts, for lack of a better word. And you see how guys, because they're so bound by porno, the way they treat women. So if women reject them, well, why are you rejecting me? You're a slut. You know what I mean? Who do you think you are? And you're seeing the rise of incel culture. And incel culture is not just men. There's women who are incels. And incel means involuntary celibate. But women more internalize their issues if they have a problem with men or can't get a man. Where men now, they externalize their issues. This is the guys who end up shooting schools and whatnot, because you know, both of them suffer from social issues. But what pornography does is it exacerbates it. They can't relate to women the way a normal man would. You know what I mean? How to approach a woman, how to talk to a woman, how to see a woman. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. You said that the whole thing about. I remember talking to a guy. And he actually said to me that when he sees certain women, he gets angry. When he sees beautiful women, he gets angry. And I was like, that's that. That's that thing there.
That's incel culture.
And I said, listen, man, that's it's the way you see yourself. It's the way you see other people. It's almost like I can't have it.
Yeah.
So I'm angry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you got to put that in check, man, because that's dark.
Yeah, and that's why being saved is a great thing. I mean, we understand the whole salvation aspect, but from a socializing point of view, it can help bring you back to be able to socialize with people in a way that you couldn't in general population, you know. I'm telling you, man, this is one of the reasons the incel culture is growing, is society is just fragmenting. We live in big cities, but people are lonely. You know what I mean? Church is such a great place where people can actually socialize. But going back to the idea of pornography, is these guys are becoming more and more isolated from women, how to communicate with women, seeing them in a certain way, viewing them in a degrading manner as just sex objects. And, you know, the other thing with porn as well is women are now becoming freaks. They're doing things they wouldn't do 30 years ago. They're things you could never get a woman to do that they do now easily. And I think pornography has a part to play because there are women who feel they have to compete with these women in the video.
I saw something the other day where they said that there are women who are now they're going on these social media porn thing.
Yeah.
And they're giving up teaching. To go on this thing, there's a thing where you can put
OnlyFans, I
think that's what
OnlyFans,
it is. Is that you can give up teaching.
Yeah.
There was women that were police. Yeah. There's women. There's probably doctors, nurse. They're like, look, let's just give. When you think about how society is, that we've taught women that you can't and you think how we've gone full circle.
Yeah.
Because here are women that were. There was a point in history where women are degraded.
Yeah.
They're just sexual objects.
Yeah.
Then we fought, and now they're doctors, nurse. They're in industry. They're doing great things. And now it's going full circle where we quit that.
100%. I mean, you think about it back in the day, page 3 girls. And again, I'm glad they're not in the newspapers anymore. But page 3 girls is the least of your problems now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, okay, the newspaper ain't got it, but Instagram, I mean, not Instagram, but, OnlyFans, all these things now, it's so much more accessible now than the Sun or the Mirror, whatever it was.
So then now these women are being devalued.
Yes.
From, you think if you was a teacher, your value would have been in your intellectual prowess, is into your ability to know things, history, architecture, mathematics, all of that. Forget that.
Yeah.
We've come full circle again. Yeah. Sin has brought us back full circle. And so the other thing I was thinking about this, and you kind of said it, is that how pornography, where men can't connect with women. Yeah. They don't see that as something worthwhile. Yeah. Like having a conversation with a woman. Yeah. How are you doing? Yeah. No empathy. Yeah. You don't have empathy for an image on a screen. Yeah. Yeah. You're not thinking, how does that person feel? Yeah. What's their day like? Let me talk to them. And so these are the things that maybe as young men we didn't think about. Yeah. A lot of things I didn't think about before I got married. To empathize with Francis and all of those things as a single man. I didn't think about all of these things. But then I got married to her. And so obviously we're married. We do what married couples do. But she's softened me, should we say, or she's taken off the rough edges where I've learned empathy and kindness and social engagement with this woman. Yeah. So by her being married to her, something has happened to me where God says it's not good for man to be alone. Yeah. But if you're just getting fulfillment without that, think of what's happened to you. Now you can't. Yeah, like what you said, you can't connect. Yeah. You feel no empathy. And then if you've saturated yourself in that, and then you haven't spent time with God, renewing your mind about these things, allowing the Holy Spirit in, you get married. Yeah. You're like, why does this woman is this woman so demanding? Yeah, yeah. She wants to talk all the time. Yeah. She's emotional. And it's like it poisons you even 100%, before marriage.
100%. Yeah.
And so it's stopping men from having the chase, the drive, the ability to interact. It's reducing tolerance. It's stimulating your brain to have sex, but with no sacrifice, no relationship. So you become inadequate. You become almost like a nothing man. Yeah. You can't engage. You can't function as you should do, as God made you to do as a man. sexual things become less and less sweet to you. So even when you enter into marriage, it can it can destroy that, where your wife is just not enough. You're looking for a Photoshop action, lights camera action wife or woman or whatever, that type of thing. How do you think men get free of pornography? Christian men, you've come into the church, you've gone down that road, and even looking at Instagram, even messaging. I've heard cases where men can easily connect with women now on Instagram, and those women will send them madness, like just things that a woman is so shameful. How does a man get himself free from this? Christian man.
Well, again, the idea of it's a bondage, isn't it? It's a bondage, and so there's a few things. One is accountability. Men, accountability is like shining light on a situation, man. Satan wants to operate in darkness. Transparency really is a great thing. When you can make yourself accountable to people about your own struggles. Because the thing about porn, especially when you become a Christian, is you want to hide it. It's a shameful thing. You want to keep it, and you say, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to deal with it, man. Oh, God, forgive me for what I've done, man. But, God, you're going to help me overcome this thing. And the thing is, you don't. You may struggle a week, 2 weeks, and the urge comes one night. Maybe you had a rough day at work. Maybe some issue happened, and you just, you just feel weak, vulnerable, and then bam, you're back on that thing again. So accountability is one of those things where when you do find yourself in those kind of places, you ring a friend, you text, letting them know where you're going through right now. And you find out that things ease, I wouldn't say fully ease, but it can take the edge off, where you don't end up doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing. So accountability is one thing. Obviously prayer, that God would deliver from that kind of stuff, I've been in a similar, when I first got saved, man, I remember struggling with that kind of stuff. And Pastor Joe Campbell prayed for me. It was a tent crusade in Walthamstow. This was 93. And he prayed for me, bam, instantly set free. Wow. Never had a struggle with it again.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I do believe in the power of God to make a difference.
Amen.
You know what I mean? To totally wipe it clean. It doesn't mean that, we know the story about the demon comes back and check. Doesn't mean there weren't times of temptation. But for the most part, it went. Whereas before, I'd be like, man, three weeks, I've gone clean kind of thing. Bam, fall back into this thing. It was a case where I didn't need to count in my mind anymore because I knew it was gone. It wasn't a case of, I know by faith it's gone, so I won't count. It wasn't like that. It was like I never had a problem. I just totally forgot about it. You know what I mean? Rather than 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then I stopped counting. I just knew that I knew it wasn't a problem anymore, to the point where it wasn't a play. I know I'm delivered. It wasn't like that at all. It was gone. And I didn't need to think about it anymore. I just knew, just like I know now. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened to me, But for other guys, it may not necessarily be that case. There you need the accountability. It may even go further. Some people ought not to have Instagram or access to these kind of things. Remember, it wasn't me you were talking about back in the day. You used to have stuff like, these web blockers. Yeah, you know what I mean, for stuff, and your wife had the password and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you have to go down that road. I'll be honest, man, I never had, I tried it once, and it was just a madness. Never had a desire to look into porn. Never had a desire to go on. To me now, it's I don't know if it's the years of being saved, but to me it's illogical, me getting my jollies from watching a guy and a woman when he ain't me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm fortunate to come from a culture where it was like, and this is this is just, it's carnal, it's nuts, but it's like, can't you check girls?
Yeah.
that the culture when I grew up in is like, can't you check girls? But now a man could have 50 women and he would still do it. So the culture has changed. And definitely I wasn't a Mr. Romance, and I was like 100 girls. I never had that game. Thank God I've never had game. I'm just me. Thank God for salvation and Francis. But I think when the bar has been set so low that everybody's on it, then it becomes like you said, this thing. So as a new convert, you're saying that prayer and
deliverance and accountability. But remember what Jesus said: if your right hand offends you, cut it off.
Yeah.
What do you mean by right hand? The hand that helps you so much.
Yeah.
The very thing that is your benefit can also be.
You're going to really inconvenience yourself in a natural sense to save your soul.
Yeah.
Are you willing to inconvenience? Like it would be like this: you have a job, and in that job, this job is aiding you to spiritually fall.
Yeah.
Leave the job.
Yeah.
Like people, what? Leave my job? I can't leave my job. Jesus, that's what.
Yeah.
That's to the level of what Jesus is saying. Now, I'm not telling anybody to leave their job, but that's to the level of what Jesus would have been saying. He's like, you may have to inconvenience yourself naturally to advance yourself spiritually.
Yes. Or whether it was a blessing that becomes a curse, it's really cursed. You know what I'm saying? So you got to cut it off. I mean, another man may be able to have Instagram. You know what I mean? You can't. Get rid of it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Oh, well, John Brown has Instagram and he's all right. Yeah, but John Brown ain't you.
How many men have used another man to excuse himself into sin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than listening to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And listening to wise counsel.
Yeah, the path of least resistance. We always look to someone else, innit?
Yeah.
It's like if you're on a diet and then all of a sudden, man, oh, well, he had cake, so let me go have cake as well. You know what I mean?
So the good thing about what we see as Christians is that if we don't just become, like you said in the beginning, we kind of gone full circle about the book. If we don't just do things without knowing, but we go into the Word of God and we look at the Bible, think of how many times the Bible speaks about our minds.
Yes.
Our minds. Have this mind in you. Like we now as Christians have access to the mind of Christ.
Yes.
We can actually plug in to Christ's hard drive. We can actually say, I've got this dodgy hard drive that has these viruses on it. And the Bible is saying, no, and basically has very little RAM, very little processing speed. Soon as something a big file gets dragged on it, it freezes, it crashes. Detach from that. And detached to this big one. I was watching this tech program and it had this new laptop but for gamers. And so and what it was is it was a normal laptop. It looked like a normal laptop. And it's for business. And it said, but when you go home, you can plug it into this box and it becomes a gaming laptop. Because obviously gamers, they want all these lights and they need these processing speeds and all of this stuff. And that's how it is as a Christian. God has given us this hard drive, this mind of Christ. Plug into it and you'll be able to process all of this stuff now. Meaning resist it. You won't crash. You'll be able to, like you said, you'll be able to process life. Because I guess it's like, we haven't even spoke about it, but it's how people manage stress. It might be how people manage boredom and stress and an addiction, and they want that dopamine and all of that. But when you have Christ, so the mind of Christ, be renewed, be transformed, by the renewing of your mind. And so much of Christianity is about giving us a new mind. And if you press into that, that you can actually be made brand new. Not only forgiven, because God forgives us, but cleanse, remove the virus. Because some Christians, all they're doing is asking for forgiveness. But they still got the virus on the hard drive. You're going to fail again. But something happened when you prayed that God actually removed the virus. He removed it. And so Jesus did not come just to stop us from the acts of sin. He wants to stop us from being under the slavery of sin. He's defeated sin. So you got to lean into Christ. But I think, like you said, confess it. You may have to speak to a pastor or an older brother, someone that can help you. Pray. Believe God for deliverance power. Be willing to make sacrifices. Cut things off. Guarantee you'll be free.
And watch yourself. Watch yourself. Know yourself. Your weaknesses. The times you feel down and vulnerable. And make a note of, I'm in this situation. Let me create these sabotaging things that will stop me from doing this madness. You know. Yeah.
And you rewire your mind. Renew yourself.
Yeah, never trust yourself that you've overcome in that sense. You know what I mean? You got to put roadblocks in your life sometimes. You know what I mean? You got to sabotage yourself, or these things will sabotage you.
Yeah,
you know?
You think, as the Bible says, be strong in the Lord, not your own strength.
Yeah.
Not like just be strong. The Bible doesn't encourage us to be strong.
Yeah.
He says, be strong in the Lord.
Yeah.
Don't trust your own strength.
Yeah.
Forget your own strength. It will flop.
Yep.
So, all right, that was good.
All right.
Let's end it there, and we'll come back another time. Appreciate your time. I know it's very precious.
That's right.
Pastor Jay.
That's right.
And we'll come back, we'll do another one. What's going on?
Yeah.
All right, peace.